I mean, wow. Wow.
Behavior that Angel Reese has been displaying is embarrassing.
Reese is definitely finding her own, and I think
knowing the way they treat her, they would probably fine her and suspend her.
The arena was electric one moment and stunned silent the next. It was July 8th, the Chicago Sky trailing the Mystics by 2 points with just seconds left on the clock, when Angel Reese stormed toward the bench as tension boiled over. In a split-second flash, she snatched the clipboard from her assistant coach's hand and sent it clattering to the hardwood. Cameras froze on the spilled papers, capturing a superstar's raw frustration in living color. No warning, no hesitation, just the sharp crack of authority shattering under the weight of a season gone sideways. But that outburst was only the opening act.
Is walking over to the bench and she slaps the clipboard out of her coach's hand.
It's another day of the Angel Reese drama because she has simply smacked the clipboard out of an assistant coach's hands.
Despite the chaos on the sidelines, Angel Reese delivered one of the most commanding performances of her young career. She erupted for 22 points on a flurry of power drives and mid-range pull-ups and controlled the glass with 15 rebounds, her 6th straight double-double and a milestone no sophomore had hit in nearly a decade. Every thunderous putback dunk and quick outlet pass seemed to push Chicago closer to a comeback. Yet the Sky still fell 2 points short. Remarkably, those eye-popping numbers barely registered in the aftermath. Social feeds and sports shows replayed the clipboard hit on a loop, while her historic stat line gathered dust. It was a stark reminder. In a season defined by frustration, even brilliance can go unnoticed. But that was only a glimpse of how deeply this team's struggles run.
Are you kidding me? That is one of the most disrespectful acts I've ever witnessed by a professional athlete towards their coach, one of their coaches.
Chicago's season has been a masterclass in unraveling. At 5-13, the Sky trail most of the league, but the record barely scratches the surface of their dysfunction. Games that should tighten into fierce battles instead collapse under the weight of miscommunication. Plays break down because someone's not where they're supposed to be. And trust evaporates in tight moments. On one swing possession, a simple inbounds play turned into a three-way stare-down as players hesitated, unsure who was calling the play, before a pass clanged off the rim. In another contest, a veteran guard openly questioned a coach's decision on national TV, while fans winced at the sight of a locker room fraying at the seams. Each defeat seems to deepen the divide, turning sideline exchanges into powder kegs and pregame huddles into tense, uncomfortable silences. Statistically, the Sky's offense has slipped from a top 10 unit last year to bottom 5 in points per game, and their defensive rotations look more like traffic jams than cohesive coverage. Rebounding, once their strength, has become a zero-sum struggle, with long rebounds bouncing unpredictably through traffic and leading to breakaway buckets for opponents. Meanwhile, frustration bleeds into turnovers. Unforced errors, rushed shots, and phantom fouls are up by double digits compared to the same span in 2024. Worse, every timeout is a minefield. Instead of calm adjustments, cameras capture players rolling their eyes, marching off the court with heads down, or muttering under their breath. It's as if the once proud franchise can no longer recognize itself. And just when you think they've hit rock bottom, another collapse reveals that the Sky's freefall is far from over. Angel Reese's clipboard incident wasn't an isolated flare-up. It was the latest eruption in a season littered with sideline fireworks. Back in early June, tensions boiled over in a marquee matchup against the Fever when Reese and Caitlin Clark traded heated words and even brief shoves after a dead ball whistle. The league handed her a 2-game suspension for conduct detrimental, citing social media clips that spread like wildfire. Then came the post-game press conference after a loss to the Lynx, where Reese publicly lambasted the referees as diabolical and threatened to keep speaking out no matter the fines. Cameras caught her pacing, arms crossed, eyes blazing, an image that split the fan base between those cheering her fire and those condemning her lack of restraint. In practice, too, her body language has become a barometer of the Sky's mood. Clenched fists after a blown call, head shakes at coaches' instructions, and side conversations that trail off into hushed huddles. Even veteran teammates have admitted it's hard to read the room when the tone shifts so suddenly, leaving rookies unsure whether to mirror her intensity or keep their distance. Her willingness to challenge authority has made her a rallying cry for accountability, but it's also left coaches walking a tightrope. Too heavy a hand risks stifling her brilliance. too light, and the chemistry fractures further. And while some stars thrive as locker room catalysts, for the Sky, Reese's electric personality has become an unpredictable current, one that could either power a championship run or electroshock the franchise into deeper turmoil. But that history of clashes was only the prologue. When your best player publicly defies you, what do you do? For Sky head coach Tyler Marsh, Angel Reese has become both his greatest asset and his biggest headache. Marsh built his system around Reese's relentless motor and nose-for-the-ball instincts. Yet every time he tries to rein her in, he risks dampening what makes her special. In timeouts, Marsh's commands are often met with stiff shoulders or pointed stares. Bench chats meant to rally the troops sometimes end with Reese walking off, her jaw set, forcing assistants to pick up the pieces. During film sessions, teammates whisper about just giving her space, but opponents watch the discord play out in real time, drawing up schemes to exploit a Sky offense that can't survive without Reese and struggles when she goes rogue. Behind closed doors, the front office reportedly debates whether to intervene. Do you bench your star and send a message? Or pretend nothing happened and hope chemistry heals itself? Neither option is appealing. A suspension could cost the team wins it desperately needs. Doing nothing risks emboldening further insubordination. Marsh's dilemma is a classic coaching crucible. Maintain control or trust that your superstar's passion will eventually translate into wins. And yet, every choice carries fallout. Publicly reprimand Reese, and you fracture trust with a player who believes she's fighting for the team's soul. Overlook her outbursts, and you undermine the authority of every assistant coach and veteran who adheres to the playbook. At its core, this is more than X's and O's. It's a battle for culture, and the question remains, can Marsh steer this franchise without dimming its brightest light? But the next flashpoint might already be lurking just beyond the locker room door. Angel Reese's sideline meltdown didn't stay in the arena. It ignited a digital wildfire. Clips of the clipboard smack racked up millions of views within hours, fueling heated debates across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Some fans hailed her as raw and unfiltered, praising the honesty of an athlete refusing to stay silent. Others blasted her as entitled and unprofessional, insisting a true leader would have kept composure under pressure. Sports talk shows tore into the spectacle, contrasting Reese's treatment with how male stars' outbursts are often framed as passion or fire, not loss of control. Headlines ran the gamut, from Reese's rebellion to Sky in shambles, each writer tailoring the narrative to their audience. Meanwhile, message boards exploded with memes, some painting Reese as a heroic underdog, others casting her as the villain in a one-act drama. Even within Chicago, the split was stark. Season ticket holders flooded the team's feedback line, with half demanding stricter discipline and the other half calling for the franchise to embrace her warrior spirit. Local radio hosts alternated between fervent defense, "You can't tame greatness," and scathing condemnation, "This isn't amateur night." Sponsors reportedly grew nervous as brand managers monitored sentiment, wary of associating with a controversy that could spiral further. Through it all, the narrative grew. Is Angel Reese a fearless truth-teller exposing the Sky's vulnerabilities, or a volatile force dragging her team into chaos? That question isn't just academic. It shapes how opponents prepare, how teammates relate, and how the league itself weighs its next move. And with trade deadlines looming and playoff hopes fading, the fallout from this firestorm could be the most consequential headline yet. With the trade deadline looming and the playoff picture slipping further out of reach, the Sky face a high-stakes crossroads, and Angel Reese sits squarely in the middle of it. If Chicago opts to double down on its current core, it needs Reese's talent, and her rebounding prowess can flip games on a dime. But every game she misses, via suspension or self-imposed exile, feels like a two-game swing in a league where margins are razor-thin. Trade chatter is already bubbling beneath the surface. Rival GMs whisper that any team chasing a contender would kill for Reese's motor, but only if they're sure she'll toe the line. A package centered around a rising guard and draft assets could make sense for both sides. The Sky shed drama, while a new suitor bets that structured leadership can unlock Reese's full potential. Yet even the mere rumor of a departure fractures team morale, as teammates wonder whether the franchise will stand behind its most dynamic player. Beyond roster moves, there's the front office's reputation on the line. Do you punish a superstar and risk alienating the fan base? Or do you bend to her will and risk sending a message that culture and accountability carry no weight in Chicago? And in the boardroom, sponsors watch every pronouncement, ready to tighten purse strings if controversy overtakes coverage. Ultimately, the cost of inaction may be steeper than the cost of a bold move. A franchise built around a once-in-generation talent risks collapsing under its own dysfunction. But break with the status quo, and you gamble on healing a fractured locker room in time to salvage a season. The clock is ticking, and the next decision could define not only this season, but the trajectory of the entire Sky organization. Every saga reaches a pivotal moment, and for the Chicago Sky, that moment is now. Angel Reese stands at a crossroads. Will she channel her fire into fierce leadership and redemption, or will unchecked emotion continue to erode her team's foundation? A path to redemption could begin with a public apology, not as a perfunctory gesture, but as a genuine acknowledgement of the impact her actions have on teammates, coaches, and fans. Coupled with a renewed focus in practice and visible support for her peers, that kind of turnaround could transform her from the lightning rod of discord into the rallying point of resilience. Under the right guidance, her passion could reignite the Sky's championship aspirations rather than derail them. But if this season's pattern repeats, outbursts met with inaction, frustrations allowed to fester, the risks multiply. Trade rumors could evolve into front office mandates to move her before her value dips further. Young players might grow resentful or disillusioned, fracturing the locker room beyond repair. The brand damage, both locally and league-wide, could stain her legacy and the Sky's reputation for years to come. In a league defined by fine margins, the difference between redemption and rupture often hinges on one decision. Will Chicago wield its authority to restore balance, or will it capitulate to chaos? Because at this juncture, the only guarantee is uncertainty. And in that void, anything can happen. As the next whistle blows, one question looms larger than any stat line. Is this the prologue to a legendary comeback, or the final chapter of a promising partnership undone? Only time will tell. This has been the wild ride of a season, defined as much by shattered clipboards as by record-setting rebounds. Angel Reese's raw talent and fierce competitiveness have carried the Sky through countless battles, yet her unfiltered outbursts have underscored a franchise teetering on the edge of chaos. The question now isn't just how many points she can drop or boards she can snatch. It's whether this phoenix of passion can rise in unison with her teammates, or whether the flames of frustration will consume the season altogether. If you've been following this saga, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next chapter. Drop a comment. Do you believe Reese can lead the Sky back to glory? Or is it time for Chicago to cut its losses? Your voice could spark the very conversation that changes the game.